My eyes are dark from sadness. My lips are red from pain. My bosom heaves with sobs. I'm in a sexy French depression. I walk oh so slowly. I can only breathe inside. Oh, my bed smells like a tampon. I'm in a sexy French depression.
You said it was going to get stuffy. I thought that meant that.
Stuffy just, means like a lack of air movement. Stuffy is not inherently sexual.
Okay.
Stuffy is, in fact, very unsexual.
I am rolling.
Okay, good. Are you confusing stuffy with, like, steamy?
Yeah.
Are you confusing stuffy with, like, hot and heavy?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I feel stuffy right now with COVID, so I think I'm...
Right, yeah, you're very stuffy in the traditional sense. In the very clogged sinus sense. A feeling I remember all too well.
And I think I find COVID...
The first time I watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend all the way through was COVID.
I think I feel that stuffy and steamy is synonymous because I feel stuffy right now from COVID, and it was like 2 years of foreplay until I got COVID, which makes it sexy.
That's a long game.
Yeah.
That's a real careful play.
I was edging for 2 years before I finally got it.
Wow. I mean, that's so brave of you to finally get COVID. That's so, and you're being so fashionably late to the COVID party. I mean, that's just, that you're making a statement,
Yeah, and I'm transgender, so I'm already brave. And then on top of that...
Yeah, you're so brave. Mm-hmm. And this truly is like, you're making it, you are telling the world, like, this is not over.
No, I'm making a political statement using my platform by getting COVID now. I'm like kind of bookending the Tom Hanks starting it, and then me as a trans person being here now, being like, you know what? It's still a thing, y'all. Don't let them.
Still a thing, y'all.
Don't let them fool you.
Don't listen to Chet. Listen to Tom 2 years ago. Listen to Kat right now.
Yeah. Also,
it's you're using your body as protest, like the monks that protested Vietnam by setting themselves on fire.
Speaking of...
This is as impactful as that. Speaking of...
Exactly. I am 1 year on testosterone today.
Woo!
Woo! And I hit 5 years sober and started puking in November, which I think was baby COVID also. It just didn't show up on a test. And now... Yesterday, Friday the 13th.
Baby COVID is the worst mascot we've come up with in the last, few years. Like, this little sick baby with an old, see-through thermometer sticking out of his mouth. And that thing is full of mercury.
I lost connection at sick baby.
But you found it again. You found connection once again. At Sick Baby. Listen, I just did a riff as if there was an advertising mascot for COVID who was a little baby, who had a little thermometer sticking out of its mouth, and it was all red, and it was full of mercury, and maybe they had that little, cold pack on their head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's COVID baby.
Every time I celebrate some anniversary right now, instead of, a fun little party, it's, a baby version of COVID, and I just don't really know spiritually what that means, other than I think it's further proof that we do have a punishing God and he's homophobic.
Yeah. So I think it's finally been settled. It's Old Testament God is the one that we all have to stick right? We've it's Old Testament God. We were like, "Oh, is it, Jesus is so forgiving."
Yeah.
Is it this? Is it that? What is the true nature of religion? And it is Old Testament God who will turn your ass into a pillar of salt.
I tried some gay
on
ones.
The very spot.
I tried some gay higher powers, and I'm still holding on to one of them, but it's just kind of annoying that there's this other... I get the whole angel-devil shoulder thing now, because there's definitely that kind of dynamic going on. I have, a whimsical, queer higher power, but also I can't ignore that there's also this punishing... I get what the Catholics were going for. I didn't believe in it, but now I'm like, there's enough data here. There's enough... evidence.
I've done some digging, and there is enough evidence that again, we are still in the... I guess we're all Jewish then.
Sure.
So that's fun, especially for these episodes that we're about to talk about.
Good segue.
We have thank you. We have a good relevant perspective on events as two Gentiles.
Are you gonna do a little song, or are you gonna cut a little song in here?
Do you want me to do it right now?
I always want you to do it, especially at the top.
Okay. Cat, don't die. Please just live forever. Cat, don't die. Let's podcast together.
This is nice.
I know you have the COVID thing, and it will make your ears ring. But I just need you with me right now, but not in person. I need you over Skype. I need you recording your end. I need you to be my friend.
Oh, wife, I thought is where I was going.
Nope. Cat, don't die. Please just do this podcast. Cat, don't die. Just sit down on your ass. It's time to talk about crazy ex-girlfriend and with my crazy current friend, and then that car chimes in perfectly.
Can I just say a few things? About that song. One, beautiful. Two,
thank you.
Me, a straight cisgender.
Can you
white
believe
man.
no one wanted to start a musical improv team with me?
No.
Doesn't that just like break your heart?
But I'm not done. I'm not done with this review.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
I think you've really evolved in all these years. Like, usually you go for like kind of this like upbeat, up tempo, like I am something and something something. I am something and something. And this, you went for like a slow ballad. You went for like, you really like leaned into like the Paula of it. And I feel like it was definitely informed by the episode 7. But
yeah.
Wow.
My usual improv songs are very like 90s rap. You know, it's like, and here I come, and I got my friends.
Yes.
And you know, the good times never end.
Yeah.
I'm trying to branch out a little bit more.
This is like really, I feel really held and lucky. Good. And also, I forget how long you try to do these songs until
longer than I should.
Until we're a couple seconds in, and I realize this is not a 16-bar audition. This is an effort for a full song.
I'm trying to do a small, 1-minute song. I'm trying to improv, and the musical improv. They'll teach you the first thing, like, keep it simple. Don't try and be impressive with your lyrics, because you will fail. You just need to they will be so impressed if you can pull anything off at all, that, like, just keep it simple and they'll love it. So then why are you trying to defy that? Because of my hubris. because I am, in the Greek tragedy, if the Oresteia were about me, it would be instead because I got too big for my britches every single time. Yeah, who's those Greek, who's the fandom of the tragedies? Raise it. Give us sound off air horn. Yeah, drop a emoji if you're a. Yep. Yeah, I was checking how many Greek tragedies I have on my shelf. Damn. It looks like 2. I didn't know this was a thing of yours. I wouldn't call it a thing, but I took various playwriting courses and things like that, and and they make you buy like 300 small little books, full of plays. And if I liked them, I held on to them. So I have Antigone by Sophocles, which is my favorite of the Greek tragedies. I also have a remake of that play, which was done in France in the lead up to the Nazi occupation, and they took this classic Greek play and they recapitulated it into being like we all have to take a platform of involvement as this thing is rising. Like, it was a message to the people of 1930s France to stand up to the rising Nazi force at the time. And I also have the Oresteia by Aeschylus, which is the only surviving trilogy.
I
of Greek
always pronounced it
tragedies.
Achilles or
You know, you're probably right.
No, I don't think I am.
Okay, yeah, but Aeschylus, the
Damn.
Oresteia, and the other two plays that are that are in there. But yeah, so I know a little. I love a Medea.
I love a
obviously.
Medea. Yeah, there was like
Love
a really
Medea.
hot girl in high school who played a really intense hot Medea. Hi, Hattie. Thanks for
Hi,
being a friend of the
Hattie.
pod. I don't
We
think
know
she
you're
even
listening.
follows
Come on
me.
the show.
I didn't know I was gay for her, as is the theme every time I talk about someone in high school.
course.
I'm like, I didn't know I was gay for you, but looking back, damn, yes I was.
Very gay for you.
Yes, I was.
Hundo P.
Also, I disassociated the entire time you were describing those tragedies, and I just caught myself, but I hope that the listeners enjoyed it. And welcome to COVID brain fog. This is sort of like a case study for any scientists listening.
I mean, we all remember my COVID brain fog, right? Because it was 4 days of doing nothing but watching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
So it feels right
Then
that I'm here with you now. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It feels, honestly, like this feels circuitous and the podcast can end now. We've done it. We've reached the logical end point of our character arcs.
Much like Hamill Minute, it'll never end.
It'll never end. And then I kind of waffled. I had trouble finding the next thing to focus my brain on. But that was also at the point where, like, okay, after Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I kind of had enough strength to, like, sit up and do work in my COVID hotel room. So there was less time where I was just watching things. I did end up getting out my Nintendo Switch, replaying Pokemon Shield, and watching very, very, very long videos by this guy named Quentin Reviews, where he went through the entirety of iCarly and Victorious and talked about those experiences
cool.
while I was playing Pokemon. So I was really in a spot. And then at the end, I kind of caught on to the first few episodes of Secession, and I was like, this is a good show. I should keep watching this. So I've seen the first season of Secession. And that was my COVID journey.
I love Succession. I just hung out with some youths recently. Some bright-eyed, bushy-tailed youths.
The Utes.
Who... Huey, can you just enjoy being with me instead? Because I really don't want to let you out. I don't want to wrestle this podcast mic. There's a lot going on for me. Don't.
Just chill.
Huey is my cat. And not my partner. What was it?
Until that witch cast that magic spell.
He kind of looks like Salem from the sitcom laugh track Sabrina.
Sabrina. So it's a robot cat. It's a very poorly
There's a good
animated
chance.
robot
There's a good
cat.
chance that he's a freaky robot cat.
It's a really jankily done robot that, like, never... a very sharp difference
There's a good
between
chance.
when it is moving and when it is not.
It's a really good chance that is what my cat is.
Good. Perfect. I love that.
He's built because he was on 3 years of tea before he was deballed, and he probably has hundreds of kids out in these streets of Brooklyn in the 5 boroughs.
And he's always making this sound.
He is
I
actually.
remember the cat doing that a lot. Oh, great.
It's more like. It's kind of like a quack, actually. Listeners might be able to hear it. I don't
so
remember
often.
what I
These
was
cats
saying
have made
before. I'm
noise.
going to need a lot of reminders through this pod.
You were hanging out with the youths.
Oh yeah, and they had to
yeah.
write spec scripts for like some of my favorite shows.
Nice.
Because my grad professor is actually secretly my third cousin, but she was teaching undergrads at Tisch, and so I asked her to do an independent study with me, thinking that she would get a bunch of extra money through my school. Turns out they kind of ripped her off, but we had fun. And then her undergrad class at Tisch are the dramatic writing students, and they got to write spec scripts where I wrote a pilot. And so they wrote spec scripts of Succession and Pen 15 and Sex Education and Euphoria and some others. And it was really fun hearing about what people chose to do for their spec scripts for Succession. Oh, he's going to try to open the door. He doesn't know that he can't open the door from the inside, but he can open the door from the outside, which is haunting, especially at night.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to free him. 1 second.
Yeah. Free the cat.
Pause for Free the
Free
Cat.
the pussy.
Much like Save the Cat, a terrible screenwriting book.
Wow. Yeah, it's a terrible screenwriting book by a terrible screenwriter. Hey, listeners out there. Maybe you bought Save the Cat in an attempt to learn how to do screenplays. And I'm not here to judge you, but, like, Throw that shit back in the trash where it belongs. I'm just saying, like, that book is better used as kindling than as advice for screenwriting.
Yeah,
that's my personal advice.
That is what
to you.
most people say. But I did kind of teach it to some students who hated reading literature. I was just like, let's look at screenwriting then, which they enjoyed a little more. Also, I don't want to alienate you if you're neurotypical listening to this podcast, but this particular episode is more informed by a very ADHD perspective as I spiral and spiral. So hopefully that's an insight. The tangential nature of my brain, and I don't want to alienate you if you're neurotypical. You're very brave. It's tough out there being balanced.
Yeah, it's tough out there when your brain worked good.
Yeah, I feel for you.
That's all right. Let's talk about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah, I won't object to that.
All right, so let's start with Season 1, Episode 7. I'm So Happy That Josh Is So Happy. Directed by Lawrence Trilling. Written by Sono Patel. In this episode that aired one day before my 23rd birthday, Valencia and Josh are finally moving in together, and this sends Rebecca into a spiral, which prevents her from getting her job done with White Feather and Associates' new prospective big business with Calvin Young, played by special guest star Cedric Yarborough. So with Rebecca out of commission and talking to a fantasy version of Dr. Phil and taking pills she found on the ground and almost going to therapy, Paula is left to take care of Calvin, and there does seem to be a spark between these two folks. I will say at the outset of this episode, good for Cedric Yarborough for getting this kind of like, look at this hot, irresistible man treatment 2 episodes in a row. You know what? I'm Cedric Yarborough, who I suppose is best known as one of the cops on Reno 911. You know, a job that is going on like 20 years of steady employment for him. I just don't feel like he usually gets posited as like, look at this hunky man. And to which I say, good for him.
Yeah.
With like he carries himself very well. He's a very smooth talker. He's a man of sophistication, and I'm like, I get it. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy.
I commented in my thought stream of texts to you, so I could remember.
Yeah, I was getting a sort of live tweet direct to my phone.
Because I knew I wouldn't remember. I don't have short-term memory. I said, I love when they make an average-looking dude hot with music, and that they should also do that with women, but non-binary people are always hot, so they don't need to do that.
Right, of course.
But, yeah, they don't actually do that with women as much. They don't have, like, a not stereotypical beauty standard woman walking in with, like, sexy music to indicate that she's sexy.
Yeah, what they usually do is more like what they did with, like, Valencia's introduction, right? Where she obviously is, like, an unbelievably gorgeous person, and they're throwing the wind, and they're doing the slow-mo sexy music, and it's just they don't I don't know, Cedric Yarborough, if you put him next to like an Idris Elba is not maybe on that level, but if you like walked into like a party with regular people and you saw him, you're like, oh, that's a good looking guy. Yeah, that's a good looking chap.
I guess I would just think of him as like, yeah, that's a dad that works at a bank, and good for him.
Hot dad, hunky dad.
I didn't know the Reno thing. What do you think the connection was? Like, who in the show is he connected to book this?
Oh, how does he end up there? That's an excellent question. Because he's been around forever. Now I need to.
They could pick anybody, and he clearly isn't like a super. Well, I don't know actually, but he doesn't seem like a singer. And I know that they like pick off like singers sometimes, but like Heather can't sing. He doesn't seem like he can sing, and so it's like, well, you didn't come from that, so I wonder what the connection is. Because like
124 episodes of Reno 911.
Brave.
That started in 2003, as well as multiple films. So that is the big sort of raking in. Oh, he also Are you a BoJack Horseman person?
I am, in a complicated way.
Sure, as we all are. He played the cop who is a cat and speaks in the low voice. He played Officer Meow Meow Fuzzy Face.
Oh my god, I love it. I don't like cops,
one of my favorite fucking characters on BoJack Horseman.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was.
I guess he's just.
I think it was with Jace. I don't think it was with you, but I was so tickled when I was watching BoJack by peanut butter, Mr. Peanut Butter.
Mr. Peanut Butter.
Oh my god!
Mr.
For
Peanut
some
Butter.
reason, I was so tickled by his stupid dad humor, and he was a highlight for me. Even though it's like an obvious, I don't know what it was. I just was like,
No,
so...
Mr. Peanut Butter is my favorite, most beautiful boy, voiced by Paul F. Tompkins, iconically, just so funny. What a himbo, classic himbo, Mr. Peanut Butter, from the television show BoJack Horseman.
Somebody named their cat after Princess Caroline, but I don't remember who it was. Somebody in my life.
That's an excellent choice, though. Good call.
Yeah. Oh well. It'll come back.
Well.
Oh,
We'll never know.
coming back, it's coming back to me now. That's me stalling to open up my notes. Okay, so...
Great, yeah. I love stalling with some meatloaf.
I really enjoyed a lot of the writing at the beginning of this episode. I loved the writing of this episode more than the following episode, actually. The mom episode, didn't love the writing. This one, I loved the writing because it, like, cold opens with Twilight, and I peer pressured my therapist to watch Twilight when she had COVID. And then I like
Twilight and Caitlyn Jenner, referenced as an American hero,
which was that did not age.
That has aged perfectly.
Yeah, I was like that one
a
did
joke
not.
that is exactly the same now as when it was made in 2015.
I also liked Ghosts Are Obsessed with Me, and I agree.
That is funny.
I-
that is a funny perspective to have. Yeah.
And I've been writing about ghosts for a few years now, so I always kind of tune in when I hear ghosts. I, too, want to be close to a Taco Bell.
Always.
I was also just captured by her eyes, Rachel's eyes in this. There was a shot where I was just like, wow, I could really fall into those. And then...
Those lipid pools.
And then I noticed the Alice in Wonderland theme, but, like, I was impressed with how it was sprinkled, and why did she just have loose vodka already in her office?
That is a not uncommon thing in an office culture, I think, is the stash.
Really?
Is the tucked away, and some offices have a happy hour Fridays sort of thing where at like 4 p.m. on Friday they get out like a bottle of wine or something for everyone to have some of, because we've built work culture in such a way that it's so insufferable that you literally need to drink while doing it. You know, like everyone needs to live their personal Mad Men fantasies, having not paid attention to how Mad Men was like, this is bad. I would say that's actually fairly common. I didn't really blush at that.
The only Mad Men thing that I have, since I don't drink and I didn't enter the office workforce until I was sober, so I don't have that. The only thing is I've recently started fucking the secretary of a meeting that I regularly attend, as if I'm the boss.
Congratulations.
Yes, I feel very Mad Men about that.
Yeah, you should feel Mad Men about that. You're the maddest man I know.
Mad. Wild. Crazy. Unhinged.
The show Mad Men literally opens with like a white text on black that says like, in the 60s, advertising men on Madison Avenue were so powerful, and they called themselves Mad Men. They came up with the term. And it took me years after watching that to go like, oh, the MAD stands for Madison. Oh, it stands for Madison Avenue. And the show literally opens with like white text on black saying like they worked on Madison Avenue.
Okay, but
they
still.
called themselves Mad Men.
No.
And I was like, oh, no. I'm too dumb for Mad Men.
No.
Is what we've discovered. Is what we learned.
Well,
good show, but it's not streaming anywhere. There have been a couple times where I'm like, I'm finally going to do Mad Men. And it's like, oh, it's just literally like not available. I'd have to throw down like $200 on like a complete Blu-ray set to journey into the world of Mad Men, the Madison Men.
My sibling is really deep into Mad Men. Also, hometown hero, John Hamm. I met him in 8th grade when he was like at the beginning of his Mad Men arc. He was like, yeah, I went to high school here and I did theater. And if you keep doing theater, then you could end up like me on Mad Men.
You can be on Mad Men.
And I gave him a hug. And I thought he would be in love with me, but I was in 8th grade and I had braces, so we know that's not true.
So you know, John Hamm was pulling adults at that point, I think.
Hopefully.
When he taught at like Fort Zumwalt North or whatever, like he, that part of his arc, when he was like literally a theater teacher in one of the schools that I used to run like track and cross country against.
He also went to my middle school, high school when he was that age, in the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about Sexy French Depression because I remember that being one of my favorite songs at the time that I watched the show.
But the way you phrased that makes it sound like maybe you've had a turnaround on that?
Well, no, I don't think so. I just feel insecure about how I feel about songs now because we have to like battle royale at the end of each episode about like
Of course.
how the song is and what, and it's kind of an intimidating way to view songs.
I think these two songs might not... I don't want you to worry about that when we're discussing the episode proper. That's an arbitrary thing we do at the end of the episode that if it becomes too stressful, we can stop doing it at any time. I want to remind you that, like, we can just stop doing it. I do love that part of your messages to me were like, wow, this is just stock footage of Paris. And I was like, yeah.
I didn't know
When I had COVID brain and I was watching it, though, I was like...
They shot this in Paris.
Did they go to Paris?
Yeah, I really looked at it.
I was like... day one of COVID, and I was like barely alive. I was like, wow, they went to Paris.
Yeah, I
and then watching it now, I'm like, this is a fucking green screen.
I had to interrogate watching it because my default is they went to Paris, but now I'm like so immersed in like they had a budget episode or season 1 and they didn't have a budget season 2 that now I'm like paying attention to like how they shoot things, which is a weird way to watch a show. And but they did do a shot that I think was in my favorite. It's so pretentious what I'm about to say. My favorite French New Wave movie, Cleo from 5 to 7.
Cleo from 5 to 7, a great movie.
I think they did a shot. Movie. Either it's classically French New Wave or it was in that movie.
It's a ref. But it's a reference.
They do like a zoom in of her, and she kind of has the whole French New Wave vibe going, and I just really loved it.
Oui, chocolat.
Yeah. Though it was funny that they didn't translate any of the French, and she just kind of was vibing.
Oh, it did for me.
Really?
When I watched it on Netflix, the French had full subtitles. Yeah. Maybe it's because I don't watch with other subtitles.
I do.
See, I don't.
That's how I catch
like
the writing.
Maybe that's why it was translated for me when they talked about buying like a book about John Wayne Gacy online. John Wayne Gacy online.
Okay.
Is how she sings it, but it was subtitled for me.
I was only getting half of the experience, and I still loved it.
Hey folks, TV's Kevin Lanigan here, with a little interruption, which is not something I really do, a little editorializing, but apparently this subtitles thing is like a thing with Netflix now, because I saw recently there's an episode of Community, season 1, episode 3, Introduction to Film, where Abed converses with his father in Arabic, and ever since the episode first aired, that Arabic conversation has been subtitled. They've provided you everything that they say, but it's just two characters speaking in Arabic saying something important, and Netflix removed those subtitles. So if you're watching with English subtitles, it now says speaking in Arabic, where like they literally would have had to like go into the episode and specifically remove those subtitles, which is such a fucked up and bizarre way to run your Netflix. Great company, never does anything weird or specific or wrong. Obviously really cares about the art that is up on its platform, because I mean, of course you care about the art on your platform, otherwise you wouldn't do something this fucking stupid. So yeah, apparently this is a thing. Hopefully they fix it soon. Let's get a hashtag trending. If you are mad about the subtitles thing, hashtag Netflix subtitles thing is bad. Okay, great. I'm going to send you back to the episode now, but that didn't even occur to me while we were recording. And I was like, this is a thing now that Netflix is doing, and it sucks. Netflix, bad company. Anyway, enjoy paying $35 a month for Netflix so they can produce 8 Stranger Things movie-length episodes. Yeah, and anyway, fix your fucking subtitles. Rude. Wow.
It also reminded
me
me
a good number.
Of drinking alone on the floor in Switzerland. And I had a very sexy French depression there as well.
Yeah. I think if we had watched this, when did we record the last episode of this? 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago?
I think 2 weeks ago with our special guest.
2 weeks ago with our special guest. If we had tried to watch this episode, literally like last week. Depends on what you count as Saturdays. But when I was like literally suicidal, I think this episode would have like destroyed me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if we had, it would. I don't know. I don't think I would have. I don't think it would
Dear
have
listeners,
motivated me.
This is a BetterHelp ad. This is where we insert our BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a support network. I know that I feel online.
It will connect you with a therapist right to your phone.
Right to your, if you're gay and if you're not gay. And if, you know, we've had a long couple of years.
If you're religious. If you're not religious.
If you have any special identity, they will talk to you on the internet and you will feel better.
They'll talk to you on the internet. Me, I do a phone call, but they'll do video chat, or you can fucking text them.
Yeah.
Instead for an hour, if that works for you. If that's how you express yourself, good for you.
This is an unpaid ad for BetterHelp, but we just
BetterHelp.
want a content.
Which I am enrolled in, yeah.
Content warning suicidal. So that is our plug there. There are resources for you if you feel that.
Absolutely. Yes, but at that, for all of this where it's like, oh, and she's going back to therapy, and she's so depressed she can't move, and like all these different elements of it, where I was like, God, if I had watched this last week, I would not have been able to. I think it's cogently.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful when you watch media when you're in the moment, but also beautiful when you watch it where you've just kind of evolved out of the tough. Like me watching Euphoria or watching these like drug addict teen shows. Like sometimes, yes, it's triggering. Other times, I'm like, whoo, I got out. Whoo, yeah. I feel a little better that I got out of there. So I like when that happens.
No, it's good. And like and mental health and dealing with mental health and Rebecca's mental health is something that the show will go on to do more and more, essentially, like without it becoming like an issue of the week sort of thing, like a very special episode sort of thing, but like and it has been present since the pilot with like self-medicating and you know all those various other things, but now we're really getting into like maintenance and day-to-day mental health and resources and therapy and prescriptions, and it is a thread that the show will continue to follow more and more. But this is like so recognizable to me what is happening here. Obviously, I have not gotten really high with my next door neighbor and broken into my therapist's house and took a pill I pounded on the floor. Like, I didn't do any of that.
That was really fun.
But it
was really fun to see the high highs and the low low. Not fun. I don't want to like glamorize mental health, but yeah, I liked the representation of the high highs and the low lows, and I was really excited to see the therapist. I love that we got introduced to the therapist. I'm glad that we got Heather back, and I'm glad we have this therapist character because I love this therapist character, and I love how, I mean, it just makes me feel like a gold star therapy client because I've never left a therapy session. Like I've never like in the middle just been like, bye. I don't even text during therapy. Sometimes I have friends who are like, sorry, I'm in therapy right now. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing texting me?
Why are you messaging me?
Yeah. Do not disturb.
Don't talk to me about it.
Yeah. This is not important. There's nothing more important than being in therapy. Even if someone died, like you should be in therapy while someone's dying. That's where you need to be in that moment. I don't know, that's a hot
Absolutely.
take. But yeah. Dr. Phil's favorite song is the ones with pretzels, which adds to my pretzel conspiracy. What is going on with the pretzels?
What is going on with the pretzels? I think her mind is like a pretzel, Kat. It's all twisted and salty and boiled and gluten. I could really, God, this show makes you want a damn soft pretzel. God, this show makes you want to fucking go over to the grocery store and buy some fucking bakeable soft pretzels.
I'm gluten-free and I'm dairy-free, so I can't, but I want that for you. Also, I liked I need to be better by Monday because I used to make this joke. Mom dropped me off to my first therapy session.
I have no idea what they're
saying. And
she's
like, okay.
Could be anything.
Oh, did we freeze? No, we're good.
You're back.
Woo, okay.
You're back from Frozen, starring Kristen Bell.
Let it go, this is my COVID voice, 1 year on testosterone. My mom dropped me off at my first therapy session, and afterwards she was like, okay, so are we good now? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, do we have to go back? And I was like, yeah, she suggested.
Are you fixed? You're better by Monday, right?
And so it became an ongoing joke where after every time I go to therapy, I would come out and she'd be like, how was it? And I'd be like, I'm cured. And now it's been 10 years of the same joke.
You've been cured every time. It's a good, that's a good joke. And, it kind of goes in peaks and valleys of being funny. Where, like, you do it a lot and everyone's like, okay. And then it rebounds back into being funny.
Yeah.
And it's funny for a while and then it's not funny.
10-year arc.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Kristen Shaw is a horse. It, like, it goes through these peaks and valleys of whether or not it's funny.
Back to peaks and valleys. Here we are, the themes, the motifs. I hope you're all writing this down at home or wherever you listen.
There will be a fucking test.
I hope
Absolutely.
you're writing
But
this
yes,
down.
we finally have
test
Dr. Akopian,
Sorry.
who I love. I love Dr. Akopian. I hope you're writing this down because I'm going to test you later.
I also...
How's my Lynn coming? We did 50 episodes of Hamill Minute, and I don't think I've really nailed the Lynn.
I reference Lynn later when we hear Caesar sing. I'm like, this is giving Hurricane in Hamilton.
Yeah, you said that, and I'm curious, is it because, like...
It was the intonation. It was the vibe.
It's the sexy gonna do it song. It's the sexy gonna do it song.
Also, I noticed the Alice in Wonderland theme when she enters a space with... Well, she directly references it, but then the floor is, like, checkerboard tiled, and I was just like, she's really playing with something here. I think she, like, left the drink in there and was like, if I add this whimsical Alice in Wonderland theme, then it's, like, suspension of disbelief is a little easier.
Yeah.
Also, they break into
It
song
seems
a
like
lot,
the Alice in Wonderland theme sort of emerged organically, and I appreciate how much they don't overblow it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, God, have I seen 1,000, like, look, Alice in Wonderland. I'm like, I get it.
I'm glad we're kind of out of that. We had a vampire, and then we had an Alice in Wonderland. I always reference vampire when I'm talking about, like, themed eras, like pirates, vampires. And Alice in Wonderland was definitely one of them. Superheroes is forever, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, sorry to Marvel fans.
No, unfortunately.
It's
like, come on, y'all, let's pick a new one. It's time for something else. Let's go. Come on, let's come up with something else. I'll take it anyway.
I like that Paula said that her husband is not much of a licker, and that's all I needed to know. Like, tongue liquor.
You're canceled.
Yeah.
You're done.
Like a DJ Khaled, don't go down on your lady. Like, that's enough information for me.
Yeah, when DJ Khaled said that, I only had one thing to say to him. Congratulations. You played yourself.
Also, I felt that Heather is my stoner alt reality. Had I stayed out in these streets, I think if I had maintained being alive, I think it would have looked like Heather stoned with that bong somewhere in California.
Yeah.
I played a character like that for you that never saw the light of day. And I remember I showed up being like, I'm method, I'm stoned. And you were like, cool.
Neat. We usually do this pretty sober, actually. Because it helps us stay, like, cogent. But sick. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So, stoners, they're here to stay. And Heather is this... This is like the second or third Heather appearance. We are still very light on
That's what
Heather
I'm saying. I was so glad to see her
Heather and
back.
Valencia are really like occasionals.
Yeah, I was really excited to see her back, and she was actually at her best. And I felt like this was kind of watching writers play with characters and like, who do we like? Who do we like to play with? Even though I get annoyed when my favorites aren't all the time. I'm like, haven't you figured out by now? You have gold, but... Yeah.
Right? Don't you? What else do you have going on besides noticing that Heather is the best thing you got going? But it does feel like, and I don't know about the contract, reports of this, but like Heather doesn't even come in until episode 3. I don't know when they animate the opening title sequence, which we've barely talked about at all so far on 4 episodes of this podcast.
Because with the Netflix show, you kind of just like...
I don't skip it. How dare you?
Okay. Well,
I would never.
I think there's 2 kinds of genders.
No, I never skip a title sequence.
And then
Not
I do.
once. Not once.
And that's the binary.
The Crunchyroll does it right. They don't even ask you if you want to skip an anime title sequence, because of course you don't.
Well, anime is
Of course
different.
you're gonna stick it out. But honestly, of the 4 Crazy Ex-Girlfriend opening title sequences. This is the one I would skip on occasion. You know, I think it's a lot.
Are they different every time?
Yeah, every season there's a new one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It is the same every time. And I appreciate how much in season 1 with this title sequence, almost every episode they bother to set up the opening title sequence every week. You know, every week we move into the opening title sequence after someone goes like, so Rebecca, what's her deal? And it's like, I was working hard in the New York job, making dope, and it made me blue. It's a lot. It's kind of like overbearing. It's a lot of theater kid energy sort of catapulting at you, and the animated backgrounds and the sun and the I don't like animated Greg. He's upsetting to me. You know, like I look forward to the other opening titles, which I like a lot more. But they stop doing it after like a cold open, so Netflix will often skip it automatically, and you won't even have a chance to look at them most episodes unless you intentionally scroll back.
Okay.
Because they do it before the previously ons.
This is
disgusting.
This is good info.
Disgusting.
This is good.
This is something
stuff that I skipped.
Yeah, I did the backwards. So anyway, we will cross these bridges when we come to them months and months and years from now. And but yeah, I appreciate this storyline for Rebecca. I appreciate that it ends with her getting help, but also this episode did not radically change who she was as a person, so she is still falling back into bad old patterns. She is not suddenly actually ready to be quote unquote fixed. Do you know what I mean? She is still throwing the therapy out the window for Josh immediately.
Like I want
despite
to
the fact
want
that she
to
is
be
in
better.
therapy.
Yeah, I want to, but I'm not quite the willing.
But
and
unfortunately, that requires a lot of work.
And all the sober sayings, the cliches that I've had to pick up over the years. One of them is, I want the willingness to be willing to do that.
Whoa. I want you to want me. Yeah, absolutely.
I need you to need me.
Good.
I like. Okay, wait. Question. Karen.
Yeah.
Karen. What do you think of her?
I gotta say, and I mean no disrespect to that actor, you know, who I knew from like Mad TV 100 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Of the White Feather and Associates office regulars, she might be my least favorite. Because she's again just like a lot, but every so often. Last week we didn't talk about it at all. The end tag of last week where she's reviewing a menstrual cup on YouTube, and she says, "My cup runneth over." Not good.
I think funny. I blocked it out. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I guess I just like block out when she's on screen. I didn't realize I even did that. Wait, let's talk about this trope a little more though. Did you ever like Toby in The Office, Jerry in Parks and Rec? Did you like these characters?
No, one of my least favorite tropes is the character everyone hates.
Me too.
And on like Parks and Rec, it just like didn't make fucking sense that all of these characters who are so like supposed to be so kind and syrupy, and they just like hate this one guy. It's so off-putting.
I don't know what it does. I'm trying to pay attention to.
I don't know what it adds besides allowing like the show to get suddenly very mean when so many shows are like nicey nice in a certain way.
It adds like a punch where you're looking for. I don't know what it does. Like it clearly serves some function in terms of like moving things along to be able to be like, shut up, blank.
I guess it's like an easy joke, but like I don't like it. It allows like the writers to vent their various frustrations with types of people. I don't usually hate the character that it is happening to, because I like Jerry on Parks and Rec. He's like he's a fun, funny character.
I know, it actually hurts me.
I have no opinion about. I have never held an opinion about Toby. But I don't like characters who are just like their definition is weird. You know, like it's like all Karen is capital W weird, and that is her whole definition. That isn't interesting to me. That's not funny to me. There are so many characters on the show who are funny and feel like lived in and all these other things. And Karen is just like, and suddenly a Mad TV character is here. And suddenly Mad TV just showed up. And I don't like it when Mad TV shows up. I used to turn that show off halfway through to watch Saturday Night Live. I don't like when Mad TV shows up.
Yeah, I think, I thought something and it's gone. The Slippy Socks activity I thought was funny only because it reminded me of Grippy Socks, and the Slippy Socks to Grippy Socks pipeline was an idea I wanted to explore in terms of mental health. Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to speak more on that?
I would love for you to explore it, because what's a grippy sock? I don't know what that means.
Oh, you were so close to knowing the grippy sock life. It is for people who have been institutionalized for mental breakdowns, and they give you grippy socks when you're in the hospital. And so there's lots of memes now of different like couture looks with grippy socks, because TikTok has kind of normalized like mental illness and neurodivergence, and so people are more open to being in community and making jokes and sober memes and stuff about their time at mental institutions. And one of the staples is the grippy socks, and a lot of people enjoy them and they think fondly. They're like, oh, I miss those grippy socks, because you can't wear shoes, so they give you these grippy socks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Slippy Socks to Grippy Socks pipeline.
The pipeline.
Yeah.
So you're saying that, but for it to be a pipeline, wearing Slippy Socks has to then lead to you being institutionalized mentally.
Well, no spoilers.
Oh, okay. I'm going to get institutionalized mentally. That's the spoiler.
No, but you would have had last week gone further. You might have had a more intimate relationship.
More with the grippy socks. I almost could have become a real grippy socks sort of guy if last week had gone.
You would have been able to buy into the joke.
I think I did 3 pretty good podcast appearances for, again, a guy who was really not doing well.
I think I did great. I think you did great, and also you didn't have to do anything at all. That's
true. I think it was good that I had something. Kind of like Rebecca in this episode where she's like, no, if I'm not working, I have to think.
Yes, exactly. I wrote that down too. I was like, that's why
not an experience I ever know or recognize.
I got exposed to COVID the day of my last final on Monday, and now it's Saturday, and therefore I was like, wow, I don't get to experience what's after this semester because I'm now quarantining. And so I'm like, Mom, let me do data entry for your interior design job. Like, Kevin, let's do a podcast. Like, I don't like not working because then I have to think.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm always drumming up new film projects and podcasts and going back to doing comics and things because, like, life's not going so great. Gotta keep those wheels going. Gotta don't allow yourself to think and live in the moment. Although tomorrow I do have to. My therapist specifically requested me to write out all of my resentments of my father, so that's gonna take all day. That's cute. Cute Little Women writing process. Remember the montage at the end of Little Women where she's writing Little Women? That's me. I'm moving pages around, and Laura Dern is bringing me lunch.
Well, you know how everyone says 12-step like colloquially, but they don't know what that means. Step 4 of the 12 steps is doing that. Is writing all your resentments towards like particular people in your life. So that's actually. It's called an inventory, and that's kind of what you're doing.
Wow, fun.
It's not fun. A lot of people actually relapse on that step.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like it.
No, but you can text me when it's happening, because it's good to talk to other people while you're doing it.
Okay, good. I'm gonna keep it pretty general, but I think we're gonna make it
general.
Work.
He sucks. Now he's dead. That was weird.
What?
That's the... Sorry, was that a reveal to your loyal followers that your dad is dead? Oh my god, was I the first one to tell you? Fuck. Dude, did no one call
No,
you?
he wasn't a general. I just don't understand.
I didn't say general.
Oh, general, he's dead. Well, over Skype, it sounded like you said general. So that's why I was confused. Because I was like, who is the general in this? Speaking of the general, in the Buster Keaton book I just read, they go into a long history of Alcoholics Anonymous. They have a whole chapter explaining its origins and how it became popular and the various methods. It was interesting. It was fascinating.
It is. It's an interesting history. It's an old history and it's an outdated history, but it can be interesting for some people who are interested in such things. And I thought you were doing a bit. I thought I was telling you that your dad died for the first time.
What? No, it's good. And Paula's song, "His Status Is Preferred." It's a very fun,
so
smooth,
good.
jazzy
That's like
number.
my favorite. I loved it with subtitles. So good, so witty, so tight. Who do you think wrote it?
Jazz. Rachel writes all the lyrics, and then
Damn, she's so witty, man.
all the
this
lyrics.
This one is one of her
then,
goods.
Yeah, and all the references to various credit cards and whiskeys and things like that. And she's good. She writes all the lyrics and then goes over to like Adam Schlesinger and the other guy whose name escapes me, and they workshop it and they tool it and they put actual music to it. But yeah, she is the lyricist. And
I'm not gonna say fuck Taylor Swift because then our podcast will be canceled. But when you look at Rachel Bloom's discography, and you look at Taylor Swift's, they're not too far apart, I think.
Sure. Well, I think they are far apart because Rachel's fucking blowing her out of the water. That's what I'm saying. Like I think Taylor Swift ain't shit compared to what Rachel Bloom is putting out. Is what I'll say.
This was a really enjoyable last podcast.
This was fun until the Swifties came over. This is not a Swiftie podcast. Like none of the podcasts I have ever done are beloved by Swifties. Just the tone is wrong, the attitude is wrong. I don't really say anything. I like Taylor Swift. I don't usually say anything negative about her.
Yeah,
but
good. Because you can't legally.
But my art does not attract Swifties.
Her legs are insured by $40 million, so you're actually not allowed to say anything about her.
I can't cut the legs out from under her. I can't sweep the leg.
I'm glad I set that up and you really knocked it. Yeah.
Maybe I should do improv again.
I didn't have a lot of notes for the second episode.
I don't love it.
Episode 8?
Yeah, episode 8, which is, of course, my mom, Greg's mom, and Josh's Sweet Dance Moves, directed by Steven Sushida, written by Rachel Spector and Audrey Wachope. In this episode, which
I think
aired...
I'm going...
Yes?
No, go on.
Okay, which aired on... this Christmas episode aired on November 30th, 2015. And in this episode, Rebecca's mom comes to pay a visit. Greg takes Heather to go see his mom at Christmas. And Josh rejoins his high school dance troupe. Let's get this Josh business out of the way. Just like real quick. This is some contrived television bullshit. Okay? This is a classic TV trope. A trope in media where like people... Kat, when you were in high school, was there any past alumni that was described as a legend in any capacity?
I have actually
who is not like a famous person.
I've heard this at other places, but
really?
I don't experience that. I think I experienced like last name privilege because there were like lots of wealthy families that would put their last names on like fields and libraries and whatever, so that whatever kids came up with that name, it was sort of like that, like, oh, you're a blank, like you're a Jones, you're a
that's
Smith.
different. Like if someone is in the family, I have had that before where it's like, your brother used to run cross country with us, but it never extended to
I just mean guy. That was the same, that was like the equivalent clout of like if you had one of those last names, it was kind of the same of like you're in this like legend like lineage. Okay. But I've also heard of other alumni and people doing that, but it's usually within the working memory of the school. Like, it's usually like people who were oldest, like, or youngest middle schoolers when people were seniors. That's kind of that 7-year span is pretty much it.
Yes,
and then
but then
otherwise it's colloquial
fades
through older and younger
right
siblings.
But then it is gone, right?
Yeah.
Like that cultural memory disappears. Whereas Joshua Felix Chan, who is supposed to be like, what, all of these characters are in like their early 30s, maybe like the very end of their 20s.
I think they're supposed to be late 20s. I think Rebecca's supposed to be late 20s, which is weird.
Well, Rebecca like went to like law school, like full law school, so I guess she could and she not only went to full law school and began working as a lawyer, but like worked enough as a lawyer to be considered for partner, you know, which like the most conservative estimate is like in early 30s. That's like being very generous, you know, to when someone would be considered for that. There's no way the hip hop club at at West Covina High remembers some past alumni and could recognize them by face, even if they choreographed this dance. I think
the only example I have is strangely Ellie Kemper of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Her brother did this video that was like early YouTube that made fun of the other private school for being preppy. And I remember that was sort of a legacy, so that like he was like 2 years into college by the time I even like entered middle school or something. Okay. But that's like the closest I have. It was someone who like went viral. I feel like it has to be video related. It can't be like something that you physically had to be there. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, like, I guess Ellie Kemper was probably not famous by the time you were entering middle school, but still, like,
not yet, no.
That is,
she was known for being the blowjob girlfriend, I think. In, like, sometime in middle school, she did, like, a Comedy Central.
Oh,
where she was like, my hands are like sandpaper, or something like that. And she was, like, a Comedy Central darling before she got The Office and then Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah. And then, of course, and Bridesmaids, of course, let us not forget.
That was the breakout, for sure.
That was a big breakout, because, like, you know, I feel like she didn't really come into The Office until, like, kind of late, when, like, the first life cycle of The Office, I think we were maybe kind of, like, fading away from it a little bit as, like, a culture. And then it came back in a huge, huge way and is bigger than it ever was, and people watch it on an endless loop. But I guess maybe not anymore, because it's not on Netflix anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about The Office. There's this episode where we finally, after much hullabaloo and setup, we, for real, meet Rebecca's mom and get to spend time with Naomi, Rebecca's mom. And, you know, is interesting. You and I are obviously about as Gentile as they come. But there are still, and I feel like a lot of the specific relationship between Rebecca and Naomi is rooted in Jewish culture. But there is still a lot of this that can be very recognizable. Like when she comes in, the Where's the Bathroom song, when she blows in and it's like, oh, I was kind of like existing, and then like this parent entered the sphere, and suddenly it's like, oh, fucking whirlwind, and it's 1,000 things, and here's criticisms, and here's things that they're putting all this shit on you, and then they go away, and then they come back, and it's another wave, and just like the way that like Rebecca's body language throughout the song is just like she just keeps sinking like lower and lower. Her energy is like being sapped out like every second. That's not quite like my own mom. I love my mom dearly, but you know, that is a recognizable sort of feeling, I feel.
Mm-hmm. This episode definitely hit the mommy issues for sure, which I think is why I had a hard time staying connected to it, because it was...
Because you have no issues with your own mother. Yeah, they're slamming the fucking mommy issues button. They were smashing that button. They were turning the mommy issues dial. We're like looking back at the audience, looking for like feedback. It's like, you want up? You want the mommy issues out higher?
Yeah, and I think she also reminds me a lot of my grandmother, who is like peak mommy issues, like peak, like my grandmother was like non-caricature version of this 100%. Like this person and my grandmother were like pretty much exactly the same. If she was a wasp instead of like a Jewish woman. But similarly, it was like all criticism, all comparisons, all day, like nonstop,
Yeah.
like pick. And so, yeah, when that does come up, and then I definitely identify as like a mom people pleaser. Like, whoa, totally, totally.
Level 5 mom pleaser, huge mom
100%.
pleaser.
Yeah, I mean, I've since worked through that, but I would say up until a few years ago, before I knew that was a thing, full level 5. Now I would say I'm a level 1 or 2.
Okay, great. That's progress.
2 on a bad day.
Yeah.
1 on a normal day.
Yeah, that's good. That's showing growth. You're really working through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is another, like, you know, because we've seen Naomi a number of times up to this point in like brief flashback sort of sequences. I'm always surprised by how much we see her before she like actually appears in the flesh, you know, in the current era. But this is one of these characters from Rebecca's past that we are like really that they've done a lot of setup on so far, so that when they finally appear, there's all this fucking, we the audience have baggage with them as much as Rebecca does as well, you know. Because you have Naomi, her dad is going to come out. Audra Levine. They are sowing so many seeds of Audra Levine.
It is weird. Yeah, it is weird building up to this character that we have no like face for yet, and I don't know why they did it that way.
For
it is kind of,
Audra?
Yeah, I think it's weird as like a audience member to have no like face attached to a character like that.
Yeah, we're close to getting, spoilers for you in the audience, this character that they've mentioned like 14 times will appear at a certain point, and we're very close to getting putting a face to a name. But yeah, she's being set up. It feels like the way you would set up like a villain in a fantasy or sci-fi sort of thing, where like everyone is speaking in like hushed tones about like Golthrax, and then like, oh, and then when Golthrax finally appears, it's like this big bit. We know what Golthrax is going to bring to the table. You know, they've been spoken in such hushed tones.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that, but it doesn't give the same vibe, so I just don't.
It's a lot like how they set up Lady Hellbender in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I wouldn't know. Wait, so Greg and Heather kiss?
Yeah.
What do we think about that?
It's interesting. It does sort of feel like, I don't know, we got these two characters that are here, and we need something to do with them when they are out of Rebecca's immediate path of destruction. So putting them together, I don't know. I like to see where it goes. You know what I mean? Like this, it kind of makes sense. They're both sort of burnout is not the right term, but they're both sort of like sarcastic, rebellious. They don't really enjoy most of polite society or most people. It makes a certain amount of sense to stick them together, despite that age gap.
Yeah, stoner and an alcoholic. Yeah, and
a perfect duo, Sid and Nancy.
And they don't even reference the age gap, and I've been thinking about that a lot recently, where it's like people don't even acknowledge when it's like a dude and a younger, like sometimes they don't even mention it. But if this was the same age gap between a woman and a young dude, they would 100% have to acknowledge it, and I think that's weird.
Absolutely. The default way that we live our society is very strange. It's very odd. I have questions about it.
Yeah, big picture. I didn't like the California Christmas song. I can't remember liking any song in this.
I like Where's the Bathroom as a functional piece. It's like a good, it tells you everything you need to know about this character and their relationship and what to expect, but I never just like put this one on. I never throw this one on Spotify and just like listen to Where's the Bathroom. It's a very stressful sort of song to listen to. California Christmas Time is the closest this show has come so far to feeling like, oh, they accidentally put a YouTube video on the show. This feels like it could have been a viral YouTube video, but it's on the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah, it was weird because, like, the songs, episode 7, I thought were, like, so well written.
Yeah.
And then to go from that to... This song was weird. Just, like, it was, like, about, like, skin cancer. And it wasn't really... I don't know. It was weird.
It feels like one that 2000s Weird Al would have cut from the album. It would have been like exactly. A song where like it got, it's like we get the joke, you know, it's not Christmas the way you know it. It's a California Christmas, and the elf is Vietnamese and the Santa is an out of work stuntman. Something I did like about it, honestly, and it just like it just wins me over. When they're all dancing together at the end, I'm just like, oh wow, look at all these people, and they're making this show, and they're having a nice time. They're doing their dance for their song that they made. That is very nice moment. To me in a meta sense.
I wanted that moment, but in a better song, in a better place.
Oh,
I was
for
like,
sure.
I was frustrated where I was like, this is such a big set number, and yet, and like.
Yeah,
there was the I don't know. I don't know
stage.
why it flopped. I feel bad.
No,
I like feel guilty for feeling it. You know, I'm like Rebecca, Rachel. I know. I'm sorry that I don't. I'm sorry I don't like this one.
They can't all hit. There's so many songs. You know, they can't all be fucking out of the park homers. You know, sometimes you hit a single, or sometimes you even strike out. And this isn't like a full strikeout for me, because like whatever. Cast is fun. There's like a couple of interesting jokes, but it's like, lol, California, this state I've never been to, so I can't even appreciate it as like oh yeah, I know what LA is like. Oh, they have eggnog, froyo. Feels like a right winger made this. It feels like the Daily Wire produced this video, but they took the same song and did it unironically.
Interesting. Yeah, I spent Christmas in California this year, and that might also be why I thought it was a flop, because I was like, no, I've experienced it, and yeah, it's weird, but not, it's a different, this is like not the way.
Elves
there are
can
other
be Vietnamese
things.
Anywhere. That's not a California thing.
Yeah.
I believe in equality. Elves can be Vietnamese wherever they want to be.
Totally. Yeah.
Santas can be stoned across this great nation. It doesn't have to be in California. I assume most Santas are stoned.
I have noticed there's a lot of, like, weird takes on people's race in this show all the time. There's just
stops.
Like weird, like
that
the references
happening.
to people's race where it's not necessary happens at random all the time, and I'm like, why are we even? Who cares? Why do you care? Like, what? And then I don't.
No, I agree. It's a very, it feels sort of its time, not like from a different time, but that, you know, and every show I end up doing a podcast about does this a lot in its early seasons. So I don't know what it is about like comedy shows that they have to like work this pointing out race thing off of their back in their first season, but Community had it as well, and but we're about to move out of that, and move into other pastures, as we focus on different aspects of this world that we all live on.
Totally. Do you want to rank the songs? I don't have anything else to say about this episode.
Yeah, it's
what did you think of the
stressful.
button? Yeah.
What was the button on this one?
I don't remember. That's why.
Yeah, they also stopped doing buttons. That's a facet of this show that is about to go by the wayside. I assume
really?
For schedule and budgetary reasons.
They did one the episode before.
I know. It's a consistency of the show currently. It will not continue past the first season. It might even stop during the first season. It's just something they stopped doing at a certain point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just brace yourself. All right. So we are here on the ranking sheet that stresses Kat out so much. And the first song on the docket is our sexy French depression. My bosom heaves with sighs. My bed smells like a tampon. I'm in a sexy French depression.
I do remember it more than Sexy Getting Ready song, so it is my number 2.
Okay. You just like it because it has sexy in the title.
I'm noticing a theme, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
But I
noticing
didn't.
a big theme.
Sex with a Stranger is 10, so.
That's true. Throwing off the average here. For me, this one's gonna be closer to like 10, or I could go up to like 8 on my own personal ranking of sexy French depression. It's funny. There's some fun jokes, but I'm like, yeah, I got it. Some decent like black and white photography that I like. For you, it's number 2. So
In terms of, I remember it so well. It made an impression.
it did. It's sexy French impression. I mean, if we average it together, that would be 5. Do you think that would?
I think it's 7.
7. Okay, sure. After
Yeah.
I Give Good Parent, which we were also
Yeah.
very high on last time. Oh no, it doesn't automatically update the numbers on the Google Doc. I'm in hell. Oh no. I'll deal with that later. All right, now new number 7, sexy French depression. Then his status is preferred. Another Paula
that's high.
number.
That's
You like
high
that
for
one?
me. Yeah. What's the highest you'll go?
What's the highest I'll go?
Yeah.
6.
What even was What'll It Be? Remind me.
That was Greg's piano song on Thanksgiving. His Piano Man, his Billy Joel. You don't like the Greg ones.
Not usually.
And I
but
love
he
the
can
Greg
surprise
ones.
me.
You know, like Santino Fontana crooning over a piano next to Donna Lynn Champlin crooning about Cedric Yarborough.
It can be 6. It can be 6.
We can go up to 5.
No, it can be 6.
Okay. 6. 6-y French Depression.
No, not Sexy French Depression.
I know.
I'm
I was just refusing to drop a bit, even though we weren't talking about it anymore. His status is preferred. Great. Also, these numbers are about to be chaos. Moving on to the next episode. Where's the bathroom? Where's the bathroom? This one will not be particularly high for me.
12. Though I don't know what the numbers are anymore.
Yeah, but I know what you mean when you say 12. Because
after
you mean,
I Have Friends.
but above, I'm so good at yoga.
Yeah, because there isn't anything
Perfect. Yeah, I agree.
racially upsetting about it that I can remember.
Or pedophilic, which is what it is above. It is the third to last ranking, not by virtue of itself, but by virtue of it is not racist or pedophilic.
Yeah, but it gives me the same anxiety, so...
But honestly, California Christmas Time is about to go right underneath it, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
This is not a good episode for music.
No. I hope she's okay. I hope she was okay during this. Maybe she was just, like, working through some mommy stuff, and it was harder to be inspired, which I get.
I mean, it could be, conceptually, I think the song works in context. It's not a bop or a banger separate of context. Divorcing it from context does it no favors. Again, they cannot all be all-star winners. California Christmas Time honestly feels like I had an idea for a YouTube video, I never did, and I'm out of time. Let's put it on the show. We need another one.
What did you think about Greg's mom, that whole plot with the kids?
Could have used a song.
That's
Could have used Greg singing about mommy issues. That would have been something. Maybe Santino said no. Maybe Santino said this far no further.
What did you think of the dynamics?
Of that was an interesting sort of plot line, the abandonment thing. It feels a little underbaked and it ends up being a little sitcom-y where it's just like characters say everything out loud. It's like, I feel abandoned. And she's like, oh, I don't want you to feel abandoned. I should have fought harder for custody. And it's like, well, that's the end of that. We're never going to see Greg's mom again. That's the end of that plot line. Because we never see Greg's mom again, to my recollection. Listeners, do not get attached to Greg's mom. It will make you weak and you will resent its absence.
Oh. Like, they just never come back to it, or do you think she'll... Well, no spoilers.
I don't know. It literally never comes up again. Like Greg's mom. Greg's dad will appear several more times throughout the rest of the show. Greg's mom, end of sentence. I think it's an interesting perspective on this character who, he's such a misanthrope, and, his mom is actually very loving. That's a move, actually, that the show will pull again at a certain point. It doesn't... I forgot to even talk about it, because, it's just nothing. It does get Greg and Heather together, but, he goes, and she seems nicer, and she seems to be living a good life, and he resents that, which is interesting, that, she had such a good life after she left me and stopped paying attention to me and left my dad. I don't know. It's not that there's...
Well, I think it was he's working class. He can't go to whatever because his dad is sick. She left him with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there. And also kind of, I guess, adds context to why our favorite thing, you're pretty and you're smart and you're ignoring me, so you're my type.
So you're obviously my type. Wait, it's a little Oedipal, you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little,
yeah. Yeah.
It's the right Greek tragedy. Going back to our Greek tragedy theme for this episode.
Yeah. And then,
wow, there's been 17 songs so far on this show.
Wow.
They can't all be winners, mathematically. This was going to happen. I think in 8 episodes, having 13 good songs is an accomplishment.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway,
I do too. Those are good. That's a good ratio.
Mm-hmm. If I could write 17 songs in 8 episodes and 13 of them were good, I'd take that money all the way to the bank. I'd feel pretty good about that. And my failures would not haunt me at all. Never. Why do you ask? Perfect. Great. It's the Greg's mom stuff. It's not interesting. I'm not bored. I'm not ugh. But yeah, it just never really comes up again. It's kind of an interesting flash of this character and their history and the resentment and their various, monkeys on their back that they're bringing to this world. But yeah, you're smart and you're pretty and you're ignoring me, so you're obviously my type.
Chip on your shoulder and the room goes colder.
The chance you've been given, you gotta be driven as hell.
Okay, wait, same universe. That character in Legally Blonde the musical and Greg.
Who I also imprinted on when I saw a production of Legally Blonde the musical. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I latch on to these these working class Joes who are in love with these pretty upper crust lawyer women? What the fuck is wrong with me that this is what I'm glomming onto?
I want that for you. I hope you end up with a bimbo lawyer.
A boy can dream. Boy can dream of coming home every night to his bimbo lawyer.
You deserve that.
I would love
deserve
to
be a content boy in your own little. Your man cave is actually the little nerdy studio.
I'm a kept man of a attractive lawyer woman. I fix her meals. I make my art in my free time. We don't really need to worry about money because, again, she is an attractive bimbo lawyer. And, so I don't know. If you're an attractive bimbo lawyer in the general New York area or even in New Jersey, I'll commute, And
I mean bimbo in, the affirmative way.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
No, not a dismissive way. In a kind way, as a compliment.
Actually, even, if there's any, Yonkers, White Plain, Hudson, Westchester, I think you could really scoop Kevin up for that and just get Kevin a good Metro North situation.
Yeah, I would love a Metro North situation.
Yeah, and just get him all set up there. I would love that. Also, I think I could see you all on Field, doing your little fun threesome random bringing in people. I don't think this would be a closed marriage situation. I think this would be pretty
sure, yeah. If you wanna fuck other people and I'll be a kept man and I'll cook meals, whatever.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love this pitch.
Sounds great for me.
Let's manifest this.
Put it out there into the ether.
Yeah. I think you deserve it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're like a Disney princess who's been waiting like your whole life for like this to happen.
For my prince, yeah.
Yeah. And your prince is a hot bimbo lawyer.
Again, living the dream, manifesting, making it happen. Let's make it work.
No, I'm like obsessed with this concept. I had this with my friend John where I was like, oh, I really want you to have this like specific art girlfriend. At the time, it was like very Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that was a specific time for culture, for America, for the world.
Yeah.
As we reach the end of our bimbo lawyer journey, is there any plugs? Anything you got? Anything you want people to know about?
I am.
It is early July when this airs, by the way.
Okay. I am at Cat Scott Online. I am 6 hours ahead of Eastern time right now. I am in London, probably.
Whoa.
And I hopefully am in a different place in my life than currently stuck with COVID. Hopefully this is just nostalgic to listen to this.
I hope you don't have COVID forever.
Yeah. Hopefully I made it to London safely. And I'm making cool teacher friends. And I'm seeing awesome shows. And yeah, I hope I meet some really interesting, maybe have a little romantic tryst. This isn't a plug. This is me manifesting what I'm doing in London right now. If you're in London, come find me at Cat Scott Online and we'll become friends. And if you know any coffee shops, I am working on a coffee shop related thesis. So anywhere you love your coffee shop and it's queer friendly, let me know.
Hit 'em up.
I'm on TikTok, but it's not working. Maybe I'm viral by now. I don't think so.
Great. Well, you are viral right now. The coronavirus.
That got me.
Great. Perfect. Then my job here is done. Anyway, if you like me, check out that joke I just made about the novel coronavirus. By the time you're listening to this, my webcomic that I have sold several pages of, Patty Plague Doc, should be back in a somewhat weekly capacity. I plan on drawing some more tomorrow as a break from my journaling exercise about my dad. I don't have anything else going on tomorrow. So maybe I should go to my this comedy show tonight so that I have left my room this weekend. That would be, I think, maybe good for me. Maybe that would be a great idea. So look forward to that. Patty Plague Doc, Patty, on Instagram, and there's a thread on Twitter. TV's Kevin Lanigan is me on all the stuff. I plan on posting more thirst traps soon. Really start trying luring in some of these fish. It's gonna be great. And actually, fish don't need thirst traps because they are in the water already. They are anything but thirsty.
If you know the dating apps for lawyers, feel free to send it in the comments.
Yeah, please drop a line. I am very reachable. My DMs are open if you are a bimbo lawyer. Shoot your shot. I say go for it. I love to cook. I love to eat pussy. Those are two things about me. So you know what? You could do worse. Is what I'm saying. You do lick in a way that, unlike Paula's husband Scott. I do take care of business every day, and so that's fun. That's fun. That's fun about me.
Kevin eats pussy. So do I, by the way.
Yeah.
So do I. Should anyone need to have that need met? Need that information. To I won't have COVID, probably. About their life. Probably. Yeah. Do you think you'll have COVID next weekend? Is that how? When did you get COVID? No, I should be liberated on Wednesday. I actually got COVID by eating pussy, which is hilarious to me. Wow, it's transmittable through the pussy. Yeah. It is funny that I had like a dry, sad spell, and then I finally got laid, and it gave me COVID. Also, another thing that I think that listeners will find fun. I love talking about my dating life on this pod. Yeah, you do. As you were speaking, you specifically requested we hit record so you could talk about your dating life, and it took us this long to get back. Well, yeah, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but a crush called approximately 3 or 4 minutes ago. Oh my god, you gotta go. No, but then they texted me, so sorry, I just pocket dialed you, LOL.
No.
And I just responded, I was so excited. I'm going to call you back. And they said, ha ha ha, no, I'm at a baby shower. Can you believe that? And I said, you're famously in your 30s, though. Is it your baby? So I think I'm
This is
funny,
very
at least.
flirty. This is a very flirty back and forth.
It's flirty despite that this crush clearly said that they pocket dialed me, and I was so excited to answer them. And I'm like, I don't care.
You don't care.
I don't care. I have COVID. I'm going to fuck around and be silly. I hope to experiment on socials throughout. If it's July, I hope that I've succeeded in like trying Switch, trying to,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
trying Twitch. I'm clearly, something's on the brain. Trying Twitch, trying TikTok, trying Twitter. I'm trying. Hopefully I'm employed. Hopefully I have more than $200 in my bank. Hopefully Kevin and I have both found lawyers.
Yeah.
I love that for us.
Could be. You know? You never know until you're manifesting. You never know.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next month.
So funny.
Oh wow, things are really going to heat up on the television show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend across our next 2 episodes. Things are about to get fucking for real.
Hell yeah.
So until then, Kat, don't die. Please
You
just
too.
live forever.
BetterHelp.
That was my Rex Harrison cover of the song I made up earlier. Because that fucker couldn't sing.
BetterHelp, Squarespace.
Squarespace. Blue Chew. HelloFresh. What are other things
HelloFresh.
advertised on podcasts?
Yeah, there's
Mattresses. The mattress thing is really come and gone. I listen to too many podcasts, and I love charting the advertising spikes and falls of various companies and trends. I love when it's like, okay, now we're doing like razors. Now we're doing like mail order services for men's razors. That's the new hotness. And then like we move on. It's like, oh, okay, now we're into like male performance enhancement sort of era of podcast advertising. And I can't wait for the next crest. I want to see what it is. I want to see what weird shit we're gonna get. Therapy, hopefully.
Yes.
Or dating services for lawyers.
He's discerning, he's refined, eats French cheeses, drinks French wine. He travels all the time, and at the airport cuts the line. And when he checks his leather luggage, no extra charges are incurred, 'cause he's elite. He's silver elite, executive silver elite. His status is preferred. Fine hotels are where he stays, the kind with grand breakfast buffets, and a chef who can make omelets a variety of ways. And they don't stick him in some regular room, no, that would be absurd. He gets a suite, a 2-room executive suite, an executive city view suite with a second TV and 400 thread count sheets, because his status is preferred. Oh, can't you see he's got premier access to me? My whole life I've been stuck in economy. I have waited and waited to one day be upgraded, to spread my wings and fly just a bit more frequently. On his wrist, a gold wristwatch, on his lips, a blended scotch. And I have to stop my eyes from drifting downwards towards his crotch. I can peek, but I have to be discreet, 'cause he's filet mignon, not just some piece of meat. He's sophisticated, elegant, elite, in a word. He's preferred.